In the summer of 2008, the WWE made the controversial decision to go PG. Gone were the days of blood and profanity, gone were the mature storylines for the most part, and as time went on, the company slowly became almost unrecognizable for kids my age. By 2009 and 2010, the company was so different from what we were used to, and this was the time where a lot of my friends outgrew wrestling. I was 12 years old and I was used to wrestling being edgy and violent. I was used to people dying, not guest hosts on Raw every week. I was only getting older, but the product was only getting younger. But it was more than that. It was more than the product just being PG. Wrestling as I knew it just started falling apart. Watching wrestling every week was a trip. Cena was now an orange Teletubby. Randy Orton was now going to be a good guy. Yes, this guy, the war criminal, the terrorist was going to be a good guy. Edge was a good guy. Jeff Hardy, my second favorite wrestler, was gone. Who the fuck is Sheamus? Undertaker and Triple H were about to go part-time. Batista was leaving. And last but not least, Shawn Michaels was an old man and it was time to say goodbye. The Ruthless Aggression era may have ended in 2008, but 2010 was the final goodbye. And that's what makes WrestleMania 26 so interesting to me. WrestleMania 26 is not a classic Mania, but it's an important Mania. When I think about it, it really is the last Mania of my childhood, before I became a teenager, before I was super cynical, before I was a true internet wrestling mark, and it really was a goodbye to the Ruthless Aggression era. Just 1 year after this show, by 2011, WrestleMania was going to be something very different. We just didn't know how drastic it was going to be. Just 1 year later, there was no Batista, no Jericho, Edge was going to retire the night after, The Miz was going to be in the main event. The game we loved was going to be so different. But WrestleMania 26 in 2010, despite being in the middle of the PG era, this was the final goodbye to the era we loved. But luckily for us, the company did everything they could to make WrestleMania 26 must-see television. After February, when the company in a span of 3 hours set up the show perfectly, after Batista slimed Cena, after Jericho ratted at another world title, and HBK went full Agent 47 mode and assassinated The Undertaker, this show was must-see in 2010, 12-year-old me was hyped, Kevin Rudolph's I Made It was on repeat 24/7, but with the hindsight and what we know now, it makes the show a little more special. WrestleMania 26 was the last Mania of my childhood, and 16 years later, I finally went back and rewatched it, and this show definitely deserves a look back at. But first, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. So as I've gotten older, one thing I've noticed is how easily I gain weight now. I mean, you guys tell me all the time here, damn, Unk's been eating good, which hey, it's true. But it's more than that. See, I've still been working out the same amount, I've mostly been eating the same stuff, but the dad bod has definitely been coming in a little bit. See, as men get older, our bodies reprogram themselves. We naturally start storing more fat and losing muscle a little faster. And the main reason for that is testosterone. As you get older, most men's testosterone level starts dropping. And when that happens, it becomes easier to gain weight, especially around your stomach. But that's why I started taking supplements from the sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. Mars Men is a natural supplement designed to support healthy testosterone levels, which can help your body burn fat more efficiently and build lean muscle. Because when your hormones are working the way they're supposed to, a lot of things can get easier. Workouts, energy, and even staying lean. And I definitely have more energy, which you can see in how many videos I drop these days. But now I'm feeling more motivated, my performance at the gym is better, my recovery after my workouts is better. I'm out here feeling nice. It's Mars Men. There's no weird stimulants or synthetic hormones, just real and natural ingredients made in the USA, and every batch is third-party tested. And there's also a 90-day money-back guarantee, so worst case, if you don't absolutely love it, you'll get your money back. But over 91% of customers report higher energy levels. And for a limited time, my viewers can get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. And it's also available on Amazon. And after you purchase, they will ask you how you heard about them. Please support the channel and let them know that Wrestling Gifts sent you. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts. Let's get into the video. The show begins and pyro goes off. It is sunny as hell inside the University of Phoenix Stadium, but don't worry, once the sun set, this show looks absolutely beautiful. So going into this rewatch, I genuinely had zero recollection of the opening match, and let's just say this was before the era of, quote, hey, let's put a big match to open up Mania to get the crowd all hot and ready. No, there's no big match, there's just the Big Show's fat ass. It is so weird to see WrestleMania open up with a 3-minute tag team match where the heels win. You're telling me there's nothing else that could have opened the show up? No other match was available? Why is this match even on Mania? But whatever, at least it was quick. Sadly, the Big Show won. But just to show you how drastic things changed the next year, The Miz, who opened up WrestleMania in a 3-minute tag team match, main events the next year. So the show starts off mad weird, mad unnecessary, it feels like the pre-show never ended. The next match though, now this was a match that had purpose. After years of being a heel, after 5 years of being a heel and causing absolute mayhem on the company, on the roster, Randy Orton had finally turned face and was about to beat the shit out of his kids on the grandest stage of them all. It was a legacy triple threat. It was Randy versus Cody versus Ted. And first off, I gotta say, Cody Rhodes' theme at this time might be the most generic wrestler theme song I have ever heard in my life. Just listen to this shit. Combined with him once again not wearing any fucking knee pads, how this man became a star, it is a miracle. This match was the Randy Orton show through and through, and at the time this felt really weird to me. I was a huge Randy fan during this era. I've mentioned before, he was the first heel wrestler I became a fan of as I was getting older, but I didn't want him to be a good guy because to me it's like, I knew once he turned face, the days of punting senior citizens and trying to commit mass murder were going to be over. I was really against a face Orton at the time. So I went in this mad conflicted, but once again, when it comes to this match, there's one purpose, and that's Randy Orton beat the shit out of your kids, and that is exactly what he does. Backs are broken, $25,000 are lent to Ted DiBiase that never gets returned, Ted DiBiase starts bleeding, double DDT, and to end it all, Cody Rhodes gets punted. And there's the first end of an era right there. The Orton that we grew up on was gone. For the next 3 years, he would go on to be a good guy, and honestly get pretty boring in my opinion, but hey, maybe that's a hot take. But shit, the end of an era just keeps going. I don't know why that wasn't the tagline of the entire show. We then got the final WrestleMania Money in the Bank match, and to this day, I miss this match happening at WrestleMania so much. And what a way it was to go out. 10 men, 1 briefcase sounds like a traumatizing video you would have found on the internet in 2010, but the objective was simple. Go out there and die is what they did. Now, some people will say that this is actually the worst WrestleMania Money in the Bank match, which I see where they're coming from, but yo, this match was still great. Literally 2 minutes into the match, they are falling off ladders. I don't know how Kofi didn't break his neck, and most importantly, you were 2010 Evan Bourne. What more do you want? Yo, Matt Hardy at one point took a gnarly bump, and I'm just like, this was 11 years after his first ladder match, and this guy is still out here dying by these goddamn ladders. But when I think of this match, I get so sad. Christian, that ugly duckling was moving different. The crowd loved him. I loved him. Everyone but Vince loved him, apparently. He was going off, and 16 years later, he still should have won this match. He 100% should have won this match, but no. We can't have nice things. We need Jack Swagger winning the Money in the Bank. A sentence that to this day makes me want to throw up. They really thought that they were going to be able to turn this bozo into 2010 Kurt Angle. And it all began here. But all in all, despite the ending, despite Jack Swagger taking 45 minutes to pull down the briefcase, a solid Money in the Bank ladder match. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, it was time to play the game. Triple H versus Sheamus. Now this match was only 12 minutes long, and before rewatching it, all I remembered was, yeah, Triple H wins, it was whatever. Now, this wasn't anything crazy. But yo, after rewatching it, yo, the crowd loved Triple H and his extra orange tan burnt ass. And even though sure, Sheamus winning was probably the right decision, when you actually watch it and you see them go fucking mental over Triple H, it's like, yeah, him winning isn't that bad. Sometimes people just want to see the bigger star win. It's not always about putting someone over, and as someone who has always hated Triple H for a shovel, I honestly don't have a problem with this one. What I do have a problem with is the next match. CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. When these two went out in the chamber in February, they went crazy, and since then, they put together a pretty awesome feud, and here they were on the grandest stage of them all, and yo, the crowd was hot, they cared, they were invested, but then they were only given 6 minutes. And yo, that to this day breaks my heart. These two would go on to have awesome matches, but if only they were able to cook up here, and obviously they did the best they could with what they had. Those 6 minutes were awesome, but it could have been so much more, and it should have been so much more. But nah, you're only getting 6 minutes, we gotta have Bret Hart and his entire family squash Vince for 15 minutes, yeah. And at this point, you're probably wondering, damn, Pav, you are running through these matches. And that's where I gotta tell you, WrestleMania 26 is a show of 2 halves. The first half of the show feels very rushed. No match was longer than 15 minutes, not even Triple H went 20 minutes at WrestleMania, which I didn't even know that was possible. But that's why this Mania actually works. There was only one match on this entire night in this 4-hour show that went longer than 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Yes, only one match was longer than 16 minutes. Does that sound familiar? These matches weren't short because they had to throw ads in. They weren't short because gotta promote the Hulk Hogan documentary, brother. Nah, it was as if everyone held back. Everyone knew that no matter what, only one thing was gonna matter on this night. Nobody was gonna come close to being as epic as the main event. Let's just have some fun short matches that get the job done and then deliver a classic WrestleMania main event, making a cohesive WrestleMania. And that's what we got here. So even though on the surface it might seem like, oh, the two title matches on this card were so short and they're so rushed, when you actually watch it, the matches work perfectly. The second half of the show is awesome, and it all starts off with Jericho versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jericho vs. Edge is such an interesting match. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would see the day where Edge would be a babyface at WrestleMania challenging for the world title, but here we were. The whole point of this match was very simple. Can Edge hit the spear? This was the era where they tried to get the spear chant over, and the crowd, to their credit, they ate it up. These two had a great match. Could it have been better? For sure. It could have been longer, yeah, but I enjoyed it. The reversals in here were nuts. 2008 to 2010, Jericho was that guy. That was his prime in my opinion, in the ring and out of it, and he was losing his mind here. Rolls up into walls of Jericho, Ed Seguri, shit, you even had Jericho going for the speaker, counters. These two were just straight up wrestling. So going into this back in 2010, I like to think that everyone assumed Edge was winning. I mean, he won the Rumble, he was back from injury, the spear chant was everywhere, but even during the match, this was Jericho's match through and through. This was Jericho getting his lick back for WrestleMania 18. This is like, nah, I'm not losing the title, I am getting my WrestleMania win tonight. When Edge attempted the spear and Jericho reversed it into a codebreaker, the crowd lost their mind. Shit, I remember watching this live, I lost my mind, but that was just the beginning. Jericho even hit Edge with the title and Edge still kicked out. All signs, everything pointed to Edge winning. It was destiny, but thank God it wasn't. Thank God that slimy piece of shit, after years of cooking my childhood at WrestleMania 26, he didn't get no happy ending. Jericho hit another code breaker and 1, 2, 3 beat Edge at WrestleMania. Fuck your Rumble win, Edge. Fuck your bullshit face turn. Jericho held it down for the culture. Great match, and I think the right person won. I feel like a lot of people underrate this match because it's like, oh, the heel retained at WrestleMania, boo, it can't be that good. No, this was a great match. After the match, Edge tweaked and literally killed Jericho, hitting a crazy spear from the announce tables through the barricade, but then it was time for the co-main event of the evening, Batista versus John Cena. When I think of this match, I think of a few things. I think of the absolutely epic Batista entrance. I think of the We Hate Cena shirts in the crowd. There was a bunch of them. And I think how this match was so much better than it should have been. What I mean by that is, this was such a big match for me and people my age. Yeah, they had a match at SummerSlam at weight, but this was different. This was WrestleMania. This was for the title. And if you look at it on paper, it's like, damn, they only got 13 minutes? This supposed epic match, this Clash of the Titans, was only 13 minutes? But in those 13 minutes, they had the best match they could have possibly had. The crowd was invested. Half of the crowd wanted Batista to win. The little Jimmies wanted Cena to win. I wish this was longer. I wish this was more epic. But once again, I don't think any match on this night was ever going to be that other than the main event. But for 13 minutes, they did their thing. And there was never really a dull moment in this match. Back and forth, they were pulling out all the moves they could have. Near falls that were believable. And the AA that Cena hit in this match, it to this day lives rent-free in my head. Listen, that is one of the most lethal, deadly AAs ever. Like, look at Batista flying in the air. There was no soft landing for that one, and he kicked out. Yeah, he kicked out. The ending sequence was awesome. Cena got him to tap, he got the win, he celebrated with his haters, and it was a solid match. Now, do I wish Batista won this and dropped it to Cena later before leaving? I do, but I get it. They wanted a nice little happy ending for this match at WrestleMania. There's a nice balance where you can keep the matches short, but still get them over. And that's exactly what they did here. The pacing of this show and how they booked the matches, despite it resulting in less classics, was exactly what it needed to be. Because once Cena made his way to the back and all the other matches were over, the crowd was still alive, the crowd was rowdy, they were ready, and all eyes were on the match that was forever gonna define this WrestleMania. It was time to run up that hill. 25 years of blood, sweat, tears, drug addiction, scandals, recovery, classic after classic, show stealers, show stoppers. It all led to this. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26, career versus streak. What more can I even say? We were 3 hours and 13 minutes into the pay-per-view, and it was time for something magical. Let's get into it. No special entrance for Shawn Michaels this year, the moment didn't need it, it already was special. It's hard to explain how hyped up Shawn and Taker's rematch really was. There were so many questions. Is this the right call? Is this the right match? Can they even live up to the hype? How's it not going to be the same match as last year? Nobody doubted them, but it was still something that we had to see. But that's the thing, everyone wanted to see it. When I look back at growing up watching wrestling, I don't think you guys understand how lucky we were. We grew up watching HBK wrestle weekly on Monday Night Raw, banger after banger. That was not ever guaranteed. He was never supposed to come back full time after 2002, but he did, and we lived it. And all of that was gonna end here. HBK and Taker's match on this night was the only match that truly mattered. The co-main event could have been the Big Show versus Chavo Guerrero for the world title, and still everyone would have tuned in for the main event alone and paid their $40. It wasn't just a rematch, it was goodbye. And for the first time since 1995, WrestleMania wasn't gonna end with a title match. When these two were face to face, it was surreal. Like, no way we're back here after a year. No way they can drop a classic again, right? We know what they can do. We've seen it, but maybe the expectations are too high. Fuck that. These two had their legacies on the line and they delivered. Taker dominates the match early. It's Mania, it's the streak. Who cares about Mr. WrestleMania, Snake Eyes, and Old School? In the first minute of the match, mind you, that's how we're gonna get started. Okay. But the issue is Taker tweaks his leg doing Old School and Shawn goes right at it. Apparently these old wrestlers know ring psychology. It's actually impressive how they made this match so different from the last year. HBK was out here doing spears and shit. The timing of everything they did was just so on point, and it never felt forced. It was never like, oh, it's time for that spot now, time for spot number 34. No, it's HBK, kip up, turns around, falls into a choke slam, boom. It just felt organic. You couldn't really predict what was going to happen next. But anyway, the moment that I knew this match was truly going to be something different and they were for sure going to live up to all the hype was when HBK and Taker were on the outside. Now this match was no DQ, no countouts, there had to be a winner. Either the streak was ending or their career was ending, right? Now what you're about to see is pure greatness. And remember, these men were a combined age of 90 years old at this time. Both men were 45 years old and a tough 45. I ain't talking about 2026 45, no, I'm talking about a real 45. My brothers, HBK went for a flying reverse crossbody outside of the ring, right? Taker catches him, and you know what he does? You know what this monster does, this demon? Like it's a video game, like it's the 2K carry system. He gets him on his shoulders, and then into a fucking tombstone. He tombstones HBK on the floor. Somehow a flying reverse crossbody ends up in a tombstone. Dude, what a spot. He's dead. There goes his career. Doctors come check out on HBK, but nah, we ain't doing that. Bye-bye. And then next thing you know, last ride, nah, it's a face buster. Okay, it's fine. It's HBK time, flying elbow time. Nope, not today, not today. Ladies and gentlemen, they lost their minds after this. Hell's Gate, nah. Desperation Sweet Chin music's out of nowhere, nah. Last rides, nah. And it all leads to HBK with his career on the line, 20 plus years deep into his career, putting his body on the line. Sweet Chin music onto the table, Taker is dead, and it's time for Shawn Michaels to sacrifice. He's already given everything to the business, but he has to sacrifice one more time. It's time for HBK to lay it all on the line one more time. So what does he do, boys? He hits a moonsault from the apron through the table, breaks Taker's leg. I don't know if he meant to hit his legs or not, but I'm gonna just assume he did. Taker's legs are cooked for good. Shawn Michaels just did a moonsault through an announce table at WrestleMania. Screw kayfabe, they might both actually be dead. Shawn throws him in there, Sweet Chin music, and up until here in 2010, boys and girls, the streak had never been more over. 1, 2, no. Not enough, Shawn, not enough. Something has to give. What else can he do? It's time for another one. Legacy and career on the line, 25 years, all came down to this. Not some match in Saudi, I don't know what you're talking about. Sweet Chin music, no. Chokeslam. And then it was time to end it all. The Undertaker hits him with a tombstone. Middle of the ring, 67,000 people screaming. He's a 3 count away from ending HBK's career. 1, 2, no, just like last year, HB kicks out at the last second, but this time it was different. There was no shock on Taker's face, there was no sadness or what am I gonna do now. Taker knew exactly what he had to do to beat him, and it was time to end the career. And that's what I love about this match. It's the total opposite of last year. This time he's not even shook like that, he's just pissed. He's just like, why don't you just die, you idiot? The straps come down, he's standing over Shawn, the straps are down, you already know what that means. And guys, you want to talk about cinema? This is real wrestling cinema, where it's actually called for, where it's organic, where it just feels right. Taker goes for the throat slash, stops halfway, HBK slowly gets up, he's barely hanging on, his career is barely hanging on. Taker looks into the air, he looks upset, he looks a little bit emotional, he doesn't want to do it after everything they've been through, he doesn't want to yeller Shawn Michaels, but HBK ain't no bitch, he doesn't want mercy, he hits his own throat slash and slaps Taker. Oh well, Taker screams and hits the most vicious, most insane tombstone you'll ever see, he jumps in the air and bang, it's wraps. 1, 2, 3. HBK was yellered at WrestleMania 26. Shawn Michaels' career is over. You want to talk about a classic? You want to talk about 5 stars? You want to talk about pure magic? Back-to-back years, back-to-back classics with all the hype in the world, all the expectations, and they came out with their legacies on the line and delivered something special again. And I know what you're saying. It's HBK and Taker. Of course they were going to deliver. It is hard to deliver when the expectations are that high. It ain't easy to deliver when everyone is calling it a classic before it even takes place, but just 1 year removed, they did it. They really did it. The emotion, the passion, the drama. This is why all the other matches were 15 minutes max. They had to be because nothing was going to come close to this. So why cook the fans? Why force a classic? Just let it flow, let it be natural, and let the masters of the game do their thing. And that's exactly what they did. 24 minutes and not 1 second wasted, 18-0, Pyro lights up the sky in the stadium, and after it all, Undertaker lifts up Shawn, they shake hands. From 1997 classics to their Rumbles to the WrestleMania matches, they did it all, and Shawn Michaels proceeds to get one of the most deserving standing ovations in wrestling history. No music, nothing, nobody came out, no speech, it was just Shawn and the fans for 5 minutes with a non-stop ovation. And WrestleMania 26 ends with HBK saying, "Thank you." Honestly, what a banger WrestleMania, bro. What a way to say goodbye to not only HBK, but honestly, the era we grew up watching. Now, as time went on, were there still some remains of the Ruthless Aggression era? Of course there were, but I think you guys know what I mean. After this night, it never really felt the same. It was a new era going forward. So honestly, I'm pretty confident in saying that, yeah, this was the night. This was the moment where my childhood of being a wrestling fan ended, and after this, I was a different type of fan. In the comments down below, let me know, does anyone else feel that way? Does anyone else agree with me that this really did feel like end of an era? Let me know down below. I'd love to read your comments. And lastly, also, let me know which match is better, WrestleMania 25's Taker and Shawn match or the WrestleMania 26 one. I'm very curious. For me, I gotta go with 25, but rewatching this, it's close. Let me know down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's your boy Pav, aka Wrestling Gifts. I will see you soon with the next one. Till then though, take it easy, stay safe out there guys, and I'll see you very soon. Later.